y'all, it's Charlene from the Crafty Art Shack, and we're here today with another challenge video. So let's get to the craft desk and get started. Let's go. Right, here we go with DIY number 1. And for this DIY, I took one of these pigs from the Dollar Tree. And I took some of this material that you get from the Dollar Tree as well. Now, I'm going to open it up and I'm going to find out which direction the pattern runs, and that's how I want to make sure I cut it out. Now I'm going to cut out a piece a little bit bigger than my pig. Now once I get it cut, I'm going to take my little iron and iron out all the wrinkles. And then after I get all the wrinkles out of the material, I'm going to take my Mod Podge and I'm going to cover my little pig. Now if you notice, I cut my little brush for my Mod Podge. That is one of those real wide brushes that will not fit down inside the bottle, but I took it and cut the sides like that so that when I stick it in the bottle and I need to put it there to wait for me to do the next part, I can just set it down and it won't fall all the way down into the bottle. I thought that was a great tip. Y'all might need it to know. Now what I'm doing is I put my piece of material on and pressed it down, and then I'm going to go back over it with Mod Podge on the top side of the material as well. And I'm going to take and put a little bit of Mod Podge just outside of the piece of the metal so that when this dries and gets really hard, it'll be easy to cut away the extra material. Now that it's dried for 24 hours, my plan was to take and trim it up right around the edges of the pig. But I did one of the other projects that you'll see in this video first and realized how hard that was actually going to be. So I decided to cut little slits all the way around so that I can wrap the material around and hot glue it down. So I'm going to do that and I will show you the results in just a minute. Okay, I thought I might show you this real quick. What I did is I took and put on one of them little finger things because this glue's hot, and I'm going to wrap the material around the edge and trim off the excess. I'll do this all the way around the little pig, and then the next thing I'm going to do after I get it completely done, then I'm going to take a piece of this paper, brown paper, and I am going to cut a piece to fit around the edge of this pig. So I'm going to trace it out, trim it out with my scissors, and then I'm going to glue it to the back so it looks finished on the back side. Now after I get it cut out, I'm going to go in there and clean out the little areas around his little legs so that it actually looks like a pig, and I'll do the same on his tail. Then I'm going to take a piece of jute rope and tie around his neck for a little bow on the front. And you guys, we got this cute little pig for about $2.50, and I think that's a pretty good deal. Now you could put the hanger back on it and hang it up, but I thought I would use mine in a different area of my home. So you'll see the rest of this at the final reveal. Now today's video is 5 under 5. We had to do 5 projects. They had to total less than $5 for each project, and today's is a spring decor, and our host is Missy from the Crafty Cove DIY and Emily from Farm Charm Chic, and our guest host today is Kendra from Late Night Creations. You go check out these ladies' channels because they're doing some awesome crafts and you don't want to miss it. And there's also a playlist in the description box below of all the other ladies and gentlemen that are participating in this challenge. Go check them out because they're doing some awesome crafts and you don't want to miss it. Now here we go with DIY number 2. Now for this DIY, I have a daughter that collects sunflowers and farmhouse stuff, and she loves this little reindeer. So I'm going to make it so that it fits in her house for springtime, and we're going to basically do this the same way we did the pig. I made some mistakes on this one before I did the pig. That's why you see me doing the pig where I wrap the material around it. And I'm going to leave the mistake in here so you can see what I did. Now what I'm doing is bending this little reindeer away from those little pegs. If you work it enough, it does wiggle off of there, and then you can put it back on there when you're finished, so don't throw that piece away. Now here's where I covered it in Mod Podge, and I put that piece of sunflower material on there. Now you want to make sure when you put your material on that you're putting it in the direction that the flowers would grow, so that you get it on there in the right direction. Now do this one just like I did the pig, because what I did is I put it on there and I pressed it in really good. Then I put Mod Podge on the top, let it dry for 24 hours, and then, oh, I'm sorry, you guys. My alarms are going off. Okay, so anyway, we're going to put Mod Podge over this, let it dry for 24 hours, and we will come back and cut around the edges of this. Okay, it's been 24 hours and I cut all the big pieces away from this, and now I'm trying to get in all these little intricate places. And you guys, I think this would work better if you did it the way I did the pig. But it ended up working. It's just not to the quality that I think it should be. I would have done it the same way I did the pig, had I done this piece second. So what I'm doing is I'm getting off all of the little strings and stuff that has gotten attached, and then I'm going to finish trimming it up, and then we will glue this to the stand. Because I didn't do it the way I did the pig, I went back around the edges and I covered it in Mod Podge again, just to make sure everything was sealed really good. And then I glue this to the stand. I put a little bow around his neck, and this one we will see at the final reveal. And for this one, we have a total cost of $2.50. And then if you take and go around the edge of your material with some brown paint, which is what I did, on the edges, it kind of makes this stand out more. And we'll see the rest of this at the final reveal. Now here we go with DIY number 3. Now for this DIY, I found this at the thrift store and it says $4.99. I always buy on half off day, so this one was $2.50 for this piece. And then I am going to take this little rooster here and I am going to trace out my little pan around the rooster and cut it to go inside the center of that. Then once I get it done, I'm going to glue it down, and then I'm going to take some of this jute rope and I'm going to unbraid it. Now the little rooster came from a project that I had before, so there's no cost in that. And then the jute rope was a piece of rope that came off of another project that I tore apart, so there's no cost in that. And then I'm going to make a messy bow with pieces of ribbon that I already had on hand and pieces of material that I already had on hand, so there is no cost there that's extra for me. And basically all I have is the cost of the pan in this project, and this turns out so cute. I'm going to finish making this messy bow and we will see this at the final reveal. Yeah, our total cost is approximately $2.50 to $3 if you count all the other stuff that I added to this. Even though there was no cost for me, if you had to go and make it, it would still be under $5. This time we'd like to recognize our subscribers. We thank you bunches and we love you bunches, and we really appreciate you subscribing and hitting that notification bell. And here we go with DIY number 4. Now this DIY comes from a farmhouse sign that I painted back at Christmas time. Now all I'm going to do is take my chalk paint, so there's no cost in the board, because the board was actually a piece of board that came off the bottom of a refrigerator when it was replaced, and I cut it down to size. And now I am going to paint over that Christmas sign we had and let this dry. Now that it's completely dry, I took a stencil that I had on hand from another project, and what you see me doing here is I put that on with black chalk paint from the Dollar Tree. Now I already had that on hand. I already had the white paint on hand, and what I'm doing here is I'm cleaning up my letters because I had a lot of bleed. And the reason why I had a lot of bleed from my stencil is because of the roughness of this board. But that's okay. We're going to clean up all those bumpies and lumpies, and we will move on to the next step. Now what I'm doing is I have all these stencils on hand that I had gotten for another project, and I thought I'd use them on this, and it has a bunch of different vegetables and carrots and stuff like that. And so we're just going to add those to this, and then we're going to paint those in. And now the reason why I drew those in with the pencil and traced the stencil is because of the bumpiness and lumpiness of this. And so I traced it out with my pencil. Now you see me, I put 2 colors on that paintbrush so that I can get the pre-shading already done in one step when I paint this little carrot. And I'm going to do the same for the other. And what I'm doing is I'm putting half in the orange and half in the yellow, and then that way when you paint it, it automatically highlights it for you. Isn't that cool? And then after we get these painted and the little leaves painted and the tomato and the onion, or the turnip and the onion, then we are going to doodle on this. Now that it's good and dry, I'm going to take my Sharpie marker and my really fine Sharpie marker. I'm going to outline everything, and then I'm going to take and use the little Sharpie marker to add like the little lines that go like on the onion and on the carrots and stuff. After I finish doing all the doodling, then I'm going to take the rope that was originally on this sign and put it back on there, and then the total cost for this project is $0 because we refurbished a sign we already had. You guys, and we'll see the rest of this at the final reveal. Now here's our number 5 of the 5 for 5. Now what I did is I had this little mason jar thing that came off of one of the projects I made for my daughter. She gave it back to me because it was coming apart. So I decided to finish taking it apart, and we are going to make this into something else. So I get all of this stuff off the back side because I just don't like how it looks. And I'm going to save that little metal piece because we're going to use it in this project. So now this little chicken came from a thing that I bought off of Etsy or something like that. So I bought it off of Etsy for another project that I did a while back, and the project that I had, I used a different chicken, and this was one of the free ones that came with it. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking and dipping my brush in alcohol. Yes, alcohol. And the reason why I dip it in alcohol is because the alcohol evaporates really quick, and that way there's no stopping time in getting ready to put this on with Mod Podge. And once you tear it, then you see the edges, they'll just dry up really quickly, because once that alcohol evaporates, it's ready to go, and I don't have to wait because it was wet. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to Mod Podge this down, and then I'm going to put Mod Podge over the top of it and let this dry completely before I go to the next step. Now after this completely dried, I printed out on my Cricut that southern canned chicken, and I painted it in with yellow paint that I had from other projects, and this was a piece of vinyl. I didn't have the colors I wanted, so that's the reason why I made a stencil and painted it in. And then after it dried, I am now highlighting all the little letters of the chicken. Then after I finished that, I glued the little metal piece back to the top, and I took me some brown paint and went around the edges of it, and now I'm going to tie some jute cord around it, and then I'm going to add a little bow, and we will see this at the final reveal. And the cost for this project is less than, I would say less than $5, because I didn't buy the sign, and I didn't buy, or the little mason jar thing, and I didn't buy the print because it came free with the other one that I was buying. And so, yeah. And the paint I already had on hand, so this one was basically free. Okay, we'll see this at the final reveal. Now today's video is 5 under 5. We had to do 5 projects. They had to total less than $5 for each project. And today's is a spring decor. And our host is Missy from the Crafty Cove DIY and Emily from Farm Charm Chic. And our guest host today is Kendra from Late Night Creations. You go check out these ladies' channels because they're doing some awesome crafts and you don't want to miss it. And there's also a playlist in the description box below of all the other ladies and gentlemen that are participating in this challenge. Go check them out because they're doing some awesome crafts and you don't want to miss it. All right, here we go with the final reveal. Alright, y'all, we're back from the craft desk, and didn't this turn out absolutely adorable? Now, here's a picture of the set that I did for my daughter. She sees this, she's gonna want it too. You guys, that's it for this episode of the Crafty Art Shack. If you like what you see today, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It really helps our channel out. And we'll see you in the next episode of the Crafty Art Shack. We'll see you later. Bye.
And I'll tell you more about that in, somewhere in there. Y'all, we're back from the craft desk, really? And this one's what's it got? It's a challenge video content. Then subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share our videos because it really helps our channel out. And we'll see you in the next episode of the Crafty Art Shack. We'll see you later. Bye.